seriously, each plan would be super helpful. For providing.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and call the, council regular meeting of the first order. I'm sorry, let me give you one. I usually check in. I apologize. With that, we're called to order. We're going to do a roll call, please.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here.
Here.
Here. Thank you, Hector. The first item on the agenda is additions or corrections to the agenda. Are there any tonight? I have just one. I would like to add an appointment to the consent calendar for Together with Talent. I'm sorry, I have the first name.
It's Kath Garrido.
Garrido, that's right. She has done all of her interviewing and have a recommendation from Together with Talent. So I have that consent calendar. Are there any other additions or corrections? All right, hearing none, is there any objections to the additions or corrections? We have consent. All right. The next item on the agenda is community announcements. Staff?
The only announcement I have, unless Hector has some, is that the town hall remains closed. We are having some additional evaluation of the building by additional insurance inspectors next week. We've received some indication that they would like to remove a portion of the ceiling in the basement to look and see if there was heat damage to the floor of the building. So that's a concern, but we don't have an opening date and won't for some time on getting back into the town hall. Also wanted to report that we did receive a evaluation of the damage to the depot building, which was had an eave damage, apparently by an encounter with a delivery vehicle some weeks ago. It's about a $20,000 damage estimate, and it's an insured loss. So that was good news.
Do you happen to know which delivery company?
Did we find out?
Do you happen to know which delivery company it was?
I
Can you
I
say?
can't, I don't have anything to announce on that.
Okay.
All right.
Council, a couple announcements. I will let Councilor Byers speak more if you have more on the craft crawl.
I would have Counselor Perry Miller speak to that.
Councilor Byers was one of the main organizers last year, but this year it's a different on a Zegstrand with Sweet Peat Station. But thank you, Hector. So it's coming up on Saturday, May 11th, and it will be a lot of local vendors here in Talent, makers, crafters, artists. And it will be from 11 to 5, and there will be also lots of other fun going on around town. So it will be a fun day for the whole town.
Thank you, Councilor
Yeah.
Perry Miller. I apologize, Councilor Byers. At City Hall, there's another Hector also, and I often get confused. I do have an announcement. The citywide yard sale is May 18th. And so we're helping promote that. There's no signups, there's no map. It's just a day for everyone in Talent to have a yard sale and encourage people to come into town. And then we're still running a weed abatement ordinance and encourage residents to sign up for Citizens Alert. And I do want to remind everybody that if you see a green light on your mic, your microphone is on. I just got a text that some people, some counselors, mics were not on. Everyone check really quick.
Mine wasn't.
Oh, yours was
Yeah,
on.
I opened the meeting with mine off.
Oh,
It's on now. Yeah.
oh, thank you, Mayor. That's all for me.
Counselor Byers?
A community announcement, the Rogue World Music Festival is coming up at the end of May with 2 events in Talent on Saturday, May 25th. They're both free and open to all ages, a workshop in the afternoon and a storytelling and music event in the evening. Both will be happening at the Talent Commons Library Park.
Right. Right. Okay, the next item on the agenda is speakers heard on non-agenda item. And as I have said, at just about every meeting since February, our new procedure is to take speaker request forms up to this point on the agenda. So do we have any speaker request forms either from here in the community center or online?
I'll check online. There are 6 people online and no one has raised their hand. And we didn't get any to public testimony this afternoon.
Did you get any through email?
Our public testimony email, we did not receive any.
Okay, that's what you were talking about. Okay, very good. All right. And there's no paper request forms?
I did not receive any.
Okay, great. So we won't be accepting any more speaker request forms beyond this point. The next item on the agenda is public presentation 5.1, presentation from Rogue River Watershed Council, update on the Bear Creek River, mile 19, probably means mile 19,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, okay. Please come forward and take a microphone and you can state your name and your city for the record.
Okay, thank you for having me. My name is John Spees. I'm a Talent resident. And I'm with the Rogue River Watershed Council. I've spoken with you guys several times over the last year and a half about the project that we're going to implement this summer on Bear Creek at River Mile 19. Gary and Hector and I met maybe 2 weeks ago, and we thought it'd be a good time to give you an update on where we are in that process. Again, this was a post-fire grant application that we did in partnership with the City of Talent, Freshwater Trust, and the Rogue River Watershed Council. And when I updated you in December, I think was the last time here, we had not selected a contractor yet. We didn't know what the construction season was going to begin, and we were still going through the permitting process. Well, we've secured all of our permits as of last week, thankfully. We selected a contractor last month, M&M Services, who's a contractor here locally, does a lot of this type of work, in-stream restoration work, floodplain restoration work, amidst all kinds of other construction projects they have. We've used them on several different type of projects. They are local. Their boys grew up here, so it's really fun to work with them. They're passionate about this work. At this point, we believe the construction will begin in July down there by Lynn Newberry Park. We are starting to harvest the trees for this project, some coming out of the Ashland watershed, because the city of Ashland's going to donate some of the trees from the fuels reduction project for this. That'll happen in June. So again, we will be impacting the area around Lynn Newberry Park. And I made this really fancy PowerPoint earlier today. That's now just, I'm trying to recall in my head. But we will be impacting the area around Lynn Newberry Park, working upstream from there. And I'm happy to send this PowerPoint later so you guys can see what I'm looking at and talking about. But we will be putting in an enclosure there. And at Lynn Newberry Park, the far parking area, I guess towards the upstream end, we are going to close that off. And that's a Jackson County parcel. We have permission from them to do that. That's to protect public safety. And we will use that for a storage area and staging area. And when I was here in December, I also talked with you about using a little portion of Lynn Newberry Park. The, I guess, most upstream end that did not get planted last fall by Plant Oregon, because we are going to be going through there, coming from the concrete area through that gate that we will take out, driving through the park there. And I do have a draft agreement with Gary and Hector out for review that talks about our obligations to the city and ODOT, because they're the parcel owner on that. And we do have a landowner agreement in place with them as the owner. But what we want to share with you is our obligations to repair that grass area in Newbury Park and reseed it as needed. When I spoke with Robert, who's the Public Works Director here, he said you guys are gonna be doing that anyway this coming fall. So it seemed like it'd be okay for us to drive through that. But again, we will repair any damages, and that was part of the big process. Same with the Greenway, we anticipate having some effect to the Greenway surface. And our contractor has budgeted to repair that surface as needed to get it back to as good or better than it was before this process. This is very common for us to do. So again, we're gonna go into construction really in July. We anticipate this taking about 6 to 8 weeks. And it's gonna be messy. This is like any other construction site. We're gonna have excavators and dump trucks gonna be hauling out material. And it's gonna look like your typical construction site, but this is in a natural environment. And given the work that's going on between Talent, Phoenix and Ashland right now along the Greenway, with that fuels mitigation, fuels work that's being done, and the amount of public comments that are coming through, we anticipate a lot of comments coming in. So we've been working with Hector primarily on our outreach strategies and some talking points, and we develop those and pass that to him. So the staff at the city, if they get called, there's a few key points that they can talk about. So we've shared that with them. Beth Booth, who was with me in December here, she developed those. We feel that middle of this month is when we're going to kind of start our public outreach. Be forward facing. We have a talent news and reviews article that we're going to put out. We'll start some social media blasts. We're going to hold a kind of an invitee only public tour in the middle of May, the open public one late May, early June. But obviously avoiding any construction. So this is just to bring community members, give them an opportunity to learn about what the project is going to be doing and answering questions. Again, because this is going to be so visible, we anticipate some kind of push for questions from the community, and we're fine with that. So as you guys all hear questions, we ask that you direct them to Hector, and then we'll come to us to answer those. I met with Rogue Riverkeeper today, and Frances Young there, she's aware of this. She's going to help spread the word as well. Some of our partner organizations, we're all on board to do this together. So I do have that landowner agreement out. I think maybe middle of May, the next city council meeting, I'll come then and talk a little bit more about that. Try to get your guys' approval on that. And then I just wanted to present the idea that we are going to fence off that one section of the parking area at Newbury Park for probably the duration of the project, and that's to protect the public and also the contractors' equipment and supplies. And we'll probably be staging some logs there, so it's a dangerous area. And with that, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Sorry, what was the duration of the project?
It's gonna be about 6 to 8 weeks, but we don't think the closure is gonna be in place that long. They're gonna be selective closures. But there's a lot of material coming out. There's gonna be a lot of fill coming out and being moved to a drop location. About 200 dump truck loads. And we have a local contractor who's gonna take half that. And then half it's gonna be disposed of at our contractor selection as property to put that.
That was gonna be my question is, do you have a haul route for where that's going and then where's the location it's going?
Yeah, so I can't say where it's going. Someone kind of wanted to take it. So if that becomes possible, say and make it public, I'll let that know. But it's someone we're all very familiar with and do a lot of work with, trees and plants and shrubs, et cetera. So but they are going to take half the material because they need to build up something on their farm. The haul route I anticipate is going to be pretty short. It's going to be coming out probably on a Fern Valley Road and then to wherever that drop point is. Not on I-5, I wouldn't anticipate though, because of that. Any other
Councilor
questions?
Byers?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is exciting. And you're so right about all the questions. Would it be possible to get like a big QR code up so people can get to an FAQ site?
Yep, so we just ordered,
Excellent.
I think we ordered 24 12 or 24 yard style QR codes, where folks can walk along the greenway, can scan it and takes it to our website. We're also gonna have some more informative signs, bilingual signs put on out there as well. And then after the project, we're gonna put in 2 interpretive signs in partnership with the county. That explains why we're doing this type of work, what the long-term outcomes are expected. So yeah, it's gonna be exciting. It's been 3 years in the making. And it's gonna be messy, so you guys will get questions. And I say that in a good messy. So I'll work with Hector to get that information out for you all to refer to.
Counselor Penamara?
Thanks for this. I'm wondering if you're coordinating at all with Rogue Valley Sewer Services?
Yeah, actually, they just gave us a permit last week, so.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we are, because they're doing that stormwater detention thing in the parking lot there, and we needed to have access to one of our staging areas there. So they gave us permission to coordinate with their contractor on that. But yeah, we had to get what's called their sediment erosion control plan and stormwater runoff plan permitted, and we just got that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else? Okay, well, we will see you in a couple weeks then. And feel free to email me or send questions to Hector. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next item on the agenda is department reports. Staff?
We have nothing other than what is in the packet. And I think it's very limited information in the packet. So nothing else to add.
Any questions on the department reports? Any comments? All right, thank you. Next item on the agenda is the consent calendar. Is there anything on the consent calendar that anybody wants to pull out for discussion? Yeah, Counselor Penamara?
Not to pull out, I just wanted to make a comment. So.
Sure, let me, let's go ahead and, yeah, let's just go ahead and do it now.
Yeah, I would just wanted to say that the Together for Talent Committee interviewed Kat, and definitely she's a great person to have on our committee, 10-year talent resident in RN, and somebody who's great ideas and great to talk to. And that brings our committee to a whopping 4 people. And another committee member is actually got a scholarship for a master's degree at Yale. We're very proud of Hector Zaragoza. But he'll be leaving us, unfortunately. So I just want to encourage folks to join Together for Talent. It's a great group. It is important that you are able to come to meetings which are going to be at 5 o'clock rather than 4 o'clock the first Tuesday of the month. To attract more people.
Very good.
Are there meetings in person now or are
They are in person.
there? Okay.
So with that, I do have a recommendation from Together for Talent. So I will be seeking consent of the council to appoint to that position within the consent calendar. So if there's no further discussion, I will entertain a motion. Counselor Byers?
I move to approve the consent calendar.
Second. I have a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is unfinished business. There is none. Number 9 is new business. 9.1, award of the contract for Park Avenue water main replacement. Staff report?
Mayor and members of the council, the city solicited bids for the construction of 400 feet of 8-inch diameter water main on Park Avenue between LaPree and Sunny Streets. The project replaces an existing and failing 4-inch AUC water main. 5 bids were received. The city engineer has reviewed the bids and recommends that the contract be awarded to the lowest responsible bidder, 3-dimensional construction, at $116,990. The high bid was $160,114.27. The engineer's estimate was $139,550. I spoke with the city engineer today, He said that getting more than 3 bids is kind of exceptional for projects of this size. So we're pleased that we got some really competitive bids. The project is included in the Water Capital Improvement Plan and is funded by Talent Water customers through the water rates and system development charge fees because the project includes increasing capacity. We're recommending that you move to award the contract for construction of the Park Avenue Water Main Replacement Project to 3-Dimensional Construction, the lowest responsible bidder, in the amount of $116,990, and reject all other bids.
Any questions? Council Panamarev?
Yeah, this is just a curiosity question. You mentioned that it was funded by talent taxpayers because of its increased capacity. I'm just wondering, has the city in the past looked to DEQ or other agencies to help pay for some of this type of construction?
Unlikely that they would participate in a project of this type.
Okay.
It's a comparatively small project.
Mhm.
Yeah, they don't still participate in small projects.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. Counselor Byers?
I move to award the contract for construction of the Park Avenue Water Main Replacement Project to 3-Dimensional Construction, the lowest responsible bidder, in the amount of $116,990, and reject all other bids.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to award the contract for construction of the Park Avenue Water Main Replacement Project to 3-Dimensional Construction, the lowest responsible bidder, in the amount of $116,990, and reject all other bids. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is 9.2, request for Urban Forestry Committee for water meter at Summer Place Wetlands for OWEB tree planting. Staff report?
Mayor, members of the council, 2 items from the Urban Forestry Committee. First is a water service to serve Summer Place Wetlands. The Summer Place Wetlands is a designated OWEB planting location. It is anticipated that approximately 50 trees will be installed at this location. The Urban Forestry Committee is requesting that the city install a water service at this location for irrigation of the trees. The Public Works Department has provided an estimate for the cost of the water service. OWEB has confirmed that the installation cost and payment of SDCs is grant eligible. This is the first request of this kind that OWEB has received. The city will be required to complete a grant agreement amendment to authorize use of OWEB funds for this project. The cost of preparing that grant amendment is not included in the project costs. The cost estimate from the Public Works Department is $10,302.62, which is inclusive of SDCs and the actual materials and time for installation of the meter. There's also an annual cost estimate for providing water to the site at $410.
Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. Counselor Panamarev?
I move to approve the installation of a city water service to support the tree planting at Summer Place Wetlands conditional fund, receiving full funding for this project from the OWEB grant.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the installation of a city water service to support the tree planting at Summer Place Wetlands. conditional upon receiving full funding from the project from the OWEB grant. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 9.3 is a request from Urban Forestry Committee for funds for GIS mapping. Staff?
Mayor, members of the council, the committee has been working with the U.S. Forest Service on a tree mapping project that will be part of a tree master plan. The Forest Service has requested that the city provide electronic data that has been developed by the city's GIS coordinator, Nikki Hart Brinkley, for their use in developing map overlays for this project. The estimated cost of providing this data is $300 to $375. The Forestry Committee has recommended or requested that the city allocate up to $500 to acquire this information from Brinkley. I noted in the budget that the TUFC budget for the current fiscal year is $500 and expenditures to date are approximately $1,485. The allocation requested in this request would bring the committee to about 300% over budget. We provided you with alternative recommendations for the motion.
Counselor Coley?
I just have a point of clarification or information. The committee has been working with the National Park Service Rivers and Trails Conservation Assistance Program, not the U.S. Forest Service.
Are there any questions? Counselor Penamara?
Yeah, so my understanding is this data exists, that Nikki's already developed the data?
Yep.
Okay. And this, master plan is a benefit to talent and in line with our goals, is my understanding. Daniel's nodding. I don't know if you can see it here. Okay. I'm happy to.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion. Counselor Penamara?
Yeah, I move to approve the request from the Urban Forestry Committee to allocate $500 from the general fund unallocated balance to pay for the costs of electronic data associated with the citywide tree mapping and master plan project.
Second.
I don't have that motion in my copy of the packet.
On page 55 at the top, do you see it? The
I
very
don't,
last page.
no, I don't have that. It's not in my copy of the packet. Counselor, wait a minute, maybe I do have it.
It was right below
Very-
the motion we made.
Yes,
They're all together.
no, these are all, hold on.
Very last page.
It's in the same memorandum.
Okay, yes, I see it now.
Number 2.
It's item number 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. Counselor, Byers?
I'm so sorry to both the motion maker and the seconder, but just a clarifying question for Gary. I know the council also has a discretionary fund in which we still have funds. Is that correct?
Are you,
Sorry, I'm not hearing you.
you're asking if there's a balance in the discretionary funds for the council?
Yes.
I don't have that information with me tonight.
Okay, just because I was wondering if that would be a better place to draw from than the general fund for any reason, if that was the case. This is me asking informative questions for myself.
I mean, if, from a procedural standpoint, if you wanted to amend the motion to
Mhm.
prioritize those funds before the general fund,
Mm.
that would be one possible course.
Well, before I go that step, I'm wondering if it's better for any reason for us to be redistributing funds from the council discretionary fund instead of from the general fund. I do.
We can certainly get you that report. I just wasn't prepared for that this evening.
Sure.
But I think we could make, amendment could be made to prioritize those funds if available.
Yeah.
I don't think that's still answering my question, though. What I'm asking is if it is procedurally better for us to prioritize using funds from the discretionary fund first, if they are available.
For budgetary purposes, all of the discretionary fund accounts are lumped together.
Okay,
The council has broken it up into different committee
mhm.
accounts, so it's entirely
Including the council.
entirely your discretion as to how you utilize the discretionary fund distribution.
I still don't feel like my question's answered, but that's okay. I don't think I'm asking it correctly.
I think maybe the way to ask it is, is it less detrimental to the discretionary fund than it would be to the general fund?
Yeah, that's a good
The
question.
discretionary fund is part of the general.
Okay.
It's at the end of
Yeah,
the-
but it's allocated, right? So the difference, I think that the answer to the question is discretionary fund is budgeted and allocated.
Exactly.
Where this would be an unallocated amount, an unbudgeted amount.
Right.
Yeah.
To me, in my understanding of it, it would be cleaner to do it that way.
Okay.
But I could be wrong, which is why I'm asking the
No, I
questions.
think it's fine, I think it's fine to do it. You
Okay.
wanna designate that it would come out of whatever would come out of the discretionary fund. Regardless of what committee it's assigned to.
Great. Thank you.
That was unclear.
Well, you have a discretionary fund. It's a budget line item. So all of the discretionary funding for the committees are essentially lumped together within the general.
Understood.
So I mean, if you want to designate it as coming from the discretionary fund.
As opposed
can't-
to
I-
unallocated funds.
Unallocated.
Yeah, okay, all right. Now, you were just saying the same thing, I think, yeah. Okay,
I don't think it makes a difference.
Well, then it doesn't make a difference. I will drop it. Thank you. But thank you for the education.
I just want to respectfully disagree. I think it does make a difference. I think allocated funds as opposed to trying to reallocate unallocated funds. I think there's a difference. And, if I think I just have to say this, I think from a responsible 500,000, from a responsible standpoint, if there is allocated discretionary funding available that we can use for a discretionary fund, we should, before we start asking for unallocated funds. And, especially since they really are discretionary funds, it couldn't be more closely related than that. So rather than, I do think there's a difference, but that's just my opinion. So with that, we have a motion on the table. Is there any further discussion? Counselor
Well,
Panamarev.
given that, can I amend my own motion or
Yeah.
invite Councilor Byers to do
You
it?
can with permission from your second.
Okay. So, in light of this discussion, and we're all gonna go home and read the budget manual tonight, because we're primed for it now, right? In light of this discussion, I'd like to amend, the motion instead of, from the general fund unallocated balance to say, from the general fund discretionary fund, if available, defaulting to the unallocated balance. That's in case there's no money.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion to approve the request from the Urban Forestry Committee to allocate $500, prioritizing the council discretionary fund, if available, and defaulting to the general fund for the balance. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so that is the last of the new business. Then the next item is other business and future agenda items. Are there any? I have just one, and that is a discussion on creating higher visibility for the bioswales. So it's clear that a large portion of our community does not like the bioswales. It's also clear that a large portion of our community does. And but I do think it is important for us to make them visible. Here's what I would like to suggest. We, for some reason, had the city engineer design the bioswales. I don't even remember why we shifted from, it might have been availability of professional services, I'm not sure. But for whatever reason, we shifted to doing the job in-house. And I don't think we ever really got a handle on the appropriate traffic mechanisms that are needed to make it visible. I think there were some really valid attempts that made sense. Reflectors, some sort of boingy stick in the road. But I don't think there was, I don't think there was ever a traffic assessment. I don't think there was ever like an assessment from traffic professionals. So to what degree we need to do that, I'd leave that to the discretion of the staff, but I do think improvements for visibility or recommendations at this point in time, I'm pretty well convinced that either people can't see them or they're too close to the aprons. You know, I'm sure that there's a myriad of reasons, but I think some sort of evaluation and fix is in order. So whether or not we discuss that on a future agenda, Councillor Penamarath?
Yeah, can I add, I had the opportunity to discuss this very topic when I was at the Rogue Valley Sewer Service Budget Committee meeting last week. And I think that something else we should look at is make sure that they are they're at the best angle they can be. They're doing the best job they can as far as with the stormwater and the filtering that they're supposed to do for that. And perhaps even how they would work together with the new ones going in at Cummins parking lot, which should actually be able to take care of a really large area in terms of stormwater. So it'd be nice to have in these conversations to involve our VSS engineers as well, just to get the best holistic advice we can get moving forward.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we ever really got, I don't recall, I've listened actually to both of the recordings from both of the most recent meetings, and the discussion about whether or not they were designed correctly never happened. And so I do think, we need to revisit that and make sure that I appreciate that they're working right and that they're designed the way they were supposed to be designed, and then have, if they are designed and they are working right, then have them assess for safety. So I think it's a two-part thing now. Councillor Penamarath?
I want to say, let's make it a three-part thing. And also make sure that whatever plantings we put in there are easy to maintain. And if they can help with the tree canopy, if that's easy to do in terms of maintenance, I would like that as well.
So assess the
Yeah,
flora.
if we have to go in and change them in any way, we also might want to reevaluate what gets planted there. Again, just this, this is just conversations at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, my understanding is that it was all natives put in there, and that's like what you are supposed to do. That was the
Yeah,
intention of that part of the study. I do remember reading pretty thoroughly, but yeah. But yeah, let's ask the question. Okay, so yeah, if we could get that on a future agenda as you're trying to pull back on side quests, as Jordan used to call them. We're giving you one, but but I think it's probably a good idea. Okay. Is there anything else? There are no written communications, and that's it for tonight. So we will adjourn this meeting at 7:45.
Your meeting tomorrow, to leave everything.
Yeah.